So I'm going to go ahead and just fish a little bit, let you observe what I'm doing. Then I'm going to go ahead and break it down a little bit more in terms of the steps and some of the finer points of what I'm doing. So with that, let's hope I chose the right flies. Feel like I need a little bit more split shot here. I like to hit the bottom. So I'm going to add just a little bit more there. Set the hook there. Do a few more, covering the water a little bit. I'm not hitting the bottom at all. I'm going to take a moment and add just a little bit more of weight. I'm a little deeper in the water column now. Well, let's talk technique and then I'll move up and see if we've got some fish lower down, or higher up I should say. Okay, so let's talk the technique for a little bit. The core of the steps is I've got my flies downstream. Got them close to the surface. I'm going to position myself. You'll notice I got myself positioned 45 degrees to this little slot that I'm fishing. I'm going to drop my elbow, stop high, and I'm going to lead. You'll notice I'm leading. My rod tip is downstream of my flies. Okay, you see I'm leading. I can feel that I'm hitting the bottom a little bit, so I'm going to occasionally do a hook set. I'm going to do those steps one more time for you. Okay. So again, I have the flies downstream of me, near the surface. To do a water load cast, I'm going to drop my elbow and stop this rod high. As my flies hit the water, I'm going to lead downstream. I'm leading everything downstream. Oh, there was maybe a little take. Ah, bottom. That's going to happen. That's okay. I'll get that off the bottom. Well, maybe I won't. Here we go. Cool. So there's core. Okay, so core steps. Let's talk about two things, position and speed. Where should the position of my sighter be? And you'll notice I've got a little pink indicator and a little white indicator. That's not typically what I use, but I'm doing it for the filming today. But in between is my monocolored sighter. And you'll notice that I've got that sighter just where the sighter is touching the surface. So that transition from the sighter to my tippet, I want to be just a little bit above the surface of the water. Next to talk about is speed. How fast do I want to lead this downstream? The current's a little slower on the bottom, so I really want to lead this downstream a little slower than the water current. And I just use like the bubbles, the foam on the water as my speedometer, and I'm just making sure I'm moving a little slower than the current on the top. Okay. You'll notice I do quite a bit of setting. And I can also set, false set, but I then can continue that drift. That's what's kind of cool about this. Hook sets are free. I can set a whole bunch. And sometimes that helps animate the flies. One last point. I want you to notice again my position, I'm 45 degrees. I want you to notice again my position, I'm 45 degrees to my current. But notice what I'm doing with my arm. I'm not keeping my elbow at my side. I'm really reaching out. And the reason I'm doing that is that helps me get a longer drift through the same column of water. Very, very key. So your position of your indicator, your position of your body, the speed of what you're doing, and how you reach your arm out to get a nice long drift is very key. So I haven't gotten anything in here. I'm a little bummed, but I'm going to go move up. I got to take some split shot off. I'm going to go move up a little bit and let's see if we can find a fish that's willing to take my flies in the shallower water.